Hello Pisces, this is Yasha with SoulsIntersect, and I have your April of 2016 reading ready. I wanted to let you know also that I did an introductory video about myself and what I do, and if you're interested, I will put the link to that in the description for this video. One of the things that I wanted to mention in the video that I forgot to is that obviously I don't shuffle or pull the cards on camera, and it's mostly just because of my setup, but I wanted to let you know that I do meditate on your sign and the time period the reading is for, and I usually pull 3 to 4 cards, and I go with the first ones that I pull. So I never alter anything, and I don't try to sugarcoat anything, so I just wanted to let you know that it is authentic even though the spread is already ready when I start the recording. Okay, so I'm using a 3-card spread, but occasionally I'll get the message to pull the 4th card, or sometimes it just falls out. And in this case, I got the message to pull it. So the first 2 cards that I pulled were the Queen of Pentacles on the left and the 4 of Swords on the right. And then the second 2 were the Lovers on the left and the 3 of Swords on the right. So I'm actually going to start here, even though these were the last 2. I am getting some sadness for some of you, and I'm getting some sadness around a love situation. So that's the first thing that's coming to me. I believe that's why I was told to pull this 4th card of the 3 of Swords. But the interesting thing about this 3 of Swords is that it's one of the only ones that I've seen. It's one of the only depictions I've seen without the heart being pierced. In fact, there isn't even a heart in it. And I like that for 2 reasons. One is that it gives a nod to this still being a sword card, because I think that sometimes that's overlooked with the 3 of Swords. It's become more about pure heartbreak and in an emotional sense, but it's not a Cups card. It is a Swords card. So that doesn't mean that it doesn't have that meaning occasionally, but I see of it I see it more as, and especially in this reading, as like a mental disappointment, or a disappointment based on a perception that you had about how something was. And that is hurtful. So usually when that happens, it does bring up a lot of emotions. But it's just important to remember that it has to do with the way that you perceived something, or it could also be like you were expecting something to be a certain way and it wasn't. And in this case, I think it's about a love situation, and that's causing some possible heartache. So that's not to blame you or anything. Well, firstly, expectation is a lesson for a lot of us, and also, if it's that you perceived something differently, well, I believe that it was meant to happen that way. So there's no blame here involved. If it happened that way, it's because there's a lesson that you needed to learn from it. So, I'm not seeing like the Death card or the 10 of Swords. So whatever this is, I don't think that it's a complete defeat yet. For some of you, it may be that something with a potential lover did not pan out, but I don't think that's the case for all of you. I think that for some of you, it could be a relationship that you're in and something didn't turn out the way you expected, and there's disappointment around that, or someone didn't behave in a way that you would have preferred. There could be some tension or arguments going on, but I'm not getting as much anger, a little bit of it for some of you, but it's mostly some sadness around something. And so, yeah, there could be some loss for some of you. But what helps is going back to these first 2 cards. So with the Queen of Pentacles looking on to this 4 of Swords, I do feel like the first message I'm getting is that this is a guidance for you. So it could be an earth sign, someone in your life, possibly a woman, someone who's very stabilizing to you. For most of you, I'm getting that that's one of your guides. who's really helping you through this period of mourning. I got the word mourning, so there may be some loss for some of you. It may be death for some of you, or maybe like a lost relationship. But also this period of rest. So again, it's a swords card on the right, and so that's confirming for me that there's been some either misperception, logic was not quite sound in how you perceived something, or expectations. And the other thing could be that it's been an ongoing issue, probably a love situation, but this could also be a work situation. And it's something that's just been weighing on you mentally a lot. And this guidance from the Queen of Pentacles, either a real person in your life, and it doesn't have to be an earth sign, by the way. It could just be those qualities, really stabilizing and grounding, offering you a feeling of security. And again, for most of you, I feel like it's a spirit guide more so. It could also be like a mother that's passed away that is with you, or a father. And they could have also been an earth sign or just had that effect on you, the stabilizing effect. And they're overlooking you during this period of rest, or encouraging you to take this period of rest. And it may not be physical. It could be time out. I'm getting that word. Time out from this mental activity that's really been weighing on you and has felt for some of you like a real battle. I don't know, I just got the names Josephine and Sophie. I don't know if that rings a bell for any of you. If it does, please let me know. I'd really be interested to hear. And it was in relation, I think, to that mother figure or that guide that I was mentioning. So, okay. If it's work-related, I think that there may have been a decision that you were waiting for in regard to work, and there may be some disappointment around that. And in that case, I'm really hearing the word expectation. Be very careful, Pisces, with... So sometimes you may think you're not doing the over-expecting thing. I've gotten caught in this myself where, just in general, I don't feel like I'm expecting a certain outcome, but then I realized later that I was already sort of planning or imagining myself, in a job or with someone or in a situation, and not really calling that expecting, just kind of not even realizing I was doing it. All those things do, though, fall into that category. And people say expectation. Another way to look at it is anticipation, more so. And I have a blog on this on my website, because I think that sometimes people understand it as expectation, but that discounts some of that, like planning for it or imagining yourself, fantasizing about it. What those fit under more, I think, better is the category of anticipation. So although you may not in your head believe that you were in this mindset where you knew you were going to get the job or be with that person, you may still be anticipating it, and that involves like emotions more. So that's where some of that planning or fantasizing might come in, and that can end up hurting you. So it's not that it's wrong to do it, but if you don't get the outcome that you want, sometimes those things come back to bite you, because you kind of saw yourself in that situation that you wanted, and so your energy went towards it, and then it's almost like it's cut off, so you have to recollect that energy, and it can all hurt emotionally. Yeah, so I feel like if it's work related, it seems like it was either a small business, like 2 or 3 people, maybe someone that you were thinking of partnering with, small group. Maybe financing didn't come through or something. It just feels like it didn't pan out. and you waited. I feel like you were waiting for a message about it, and then when you received it, there was some pretty heavy disappointment around it. Okay. Whatever it wasn't supposed to be. I'm getting that message too. So it could be really disappointing right now, and this could be about a person too, a potential lover, or even like a trip that you were planning on going on. Whatever it was not meant to be or not meant to happen right now. Though there's some clouds in the skies here, I'm seeing really fertile earth and plenty of blue in the sky as well. So I feel like it's a little bit of a painful time for you, but it's I don't want to call it superficial, but I feel like it's something that you will overcome fairly easily once you work through the emotions of it and the disappointment. And clear skies are ahead. I feel like you will come through this fairly quickly, and you will even come to understand that it really just wasn't meant to be. So the interesting thing too about this Three of Swords, because it's different from a lot of the other ones where the swords are all kind of pointing in the same direction, piercing the heart or piercing something. Here they're laid out a little bit more where they actually remind me of two other swords cards. One is the Eight of Swords, where the person is usually blindfolded and sort of trapping herself, so she's like loosely bound and has some swords around her, but also plenty of space to kind of get out from how they're blocking her. So it's sort of like a mental block, and it's kind of up to the person to, it will take some thinking and some working through some things, but it will be fairly easy to get out of it. And I feel like this card in this deck has a little bit of that energy. So it's kind of similar to what I just said about how you will need to work through some of the emotions around it, but I think you'll be able to get out of it fairly easily. And it also, interestingly enough, reminds me of this one, too. With this one, he has the swords set aside, and he's obviously resting more than looking disappointed like the character in the Three of Swords. But with both of them, there's like the inaction, which is completely different from, like the Knight of Swords, for example. And I feel like it's also calling for a rest. So although in the Three, she still kind of has her mind on it, and the swords are sort of not really set aside yet, and they're almost like trapping her a little bit. I feel like it's calling for them to just be laid down and her to sort of, end up like coming out of this stance and almost like lying down, similar to this character, and taking a rest. So I do feel like you do need to take a rest physically or mentally from this situation. And try to look forward as much as possible. You definitely want to work through the emotions of it, but really try to look forward. I feel like with the Queen of Pentacles, she has a lot of light on her face, and that's making me feel like it really is a heavenly soul calling out to you. I also feel like it's sunshine ahead, sort of reflecting off of her face, and the fact that she's wearing that gold crown and the gold robe confirms that for me. There is hope and prosperity coming. So that's something that's in the future for you. Okay, Pisces, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the reading and got some use out of it. If you're interested in a private reading with me, you can email me at soulsintersect@gmail.com. Thank you.